Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Schul, aka the esoteric noetic, aka the chocolate Nubian soul brother from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia, on my new scooter, the V11 in motion. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom. Drop us some comments, let us know what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, it feels good. Riding around Melbourne on my new electric unicycle. As you would have seen from my video yesterday, I was having a lot of trouble. After almost a couple of hours on this thing, I was getting frustrated because I wasn't making much progress. Now, it turns out that persistence is key. First of all, I was practicing on synthetic grass, and that's actually a lot more difficult to practice on. Once I got onto the asphalt, once I got onto the road, it was so much easier than practicing on the indoor carpet I was practicing on, and the synthetic surface, which you can see just around here on this soccer field. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been riding this thing for about 4 or 5 hours now, and I gotta tell you, it is one amazing fluid experience. Once you get comfortable with this thing, once your somatic intelligence kicks in place and your body just acclimates to how to balance yourself, it really is a beautiful thing. Because when I first started this thing, I just figured, look, I'm a dancer, I'm a martial artist, I got amazing bouncing skills, I'm gonna kill this thing. Within a few minutes, I'm sure I'll be roaming around the streets, but it takes time. I don't care how experienced you are doing other sports. If you're new to this thing, there is gonna be a short learning curve because your body has this own mechanism for internal balance. It's just like learning how to walk. You know, you have to do it over and over again until the intuitive intelligence kicks in place, and then you find yourself doing this thing naturally. So if you were new to this thing, or if you're considering getting one of these scooters, electric unicycles rather, yeah, just give yourself a bit of time. Try it for half an hour, go to sleep. Let your body acclimate to this new way of moving around, and before you know it, boom shakalaka. Because if you saw my last video, I was getting very frustrated. But fortunately, I'm a persistent mofo, and it turns out I just needed to get on the road, and now this thing is working like a charm. So this is the V11 in motion. It's a pretty good electric unicycle. I mean, this is my first. I've never been on one before. One of the great things about it is it feels as if you're just one with this thing. You don't have any steering wheels. The brake is also the reverse. It's very easy to maneuver once you become familiar with this thing, mind you. So it really, and it's so portable. It feels like the perfect travel device. Now, this thing goes at 50 kilometers an hour. I've only gone to 25. I don't want to go crazy and have a car accident or something like that, so I'm taking my time with this thing. I'm at the point now where I can mount without needing to use any kind of support. I can maneuver myself quite well. I can't go reverse. I've seen a lot of people doing stunts, but give me a week and hopefully I'll be doing that. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what's going on in the world right now. Now, it seems like the world once again is focused on Australia in light of Novak Djokovic being a political prisoner here. Now, it's very clear what is going on in this country. Now, Djokovic for some time has been saying that he's not going to get the boom shakalaka, right? And he's made this very public, said that he's not going to disclose his status. And he announced that he had received a medical exemption, was coming into the country. Now, the Australian government could have easily told him, look, mate, we're not letting you into this country. We don't want any of you anti-waxers here. We don't care if you're number one in the tennis world. You can't come in, mate, you know. But no, they decided to let him come in here, and then they denied him entry. Bearing in mind, 25 of his teammates had gotten through with no issue, with the same kind of exemption or something or other. I remember hearing 25 other people had gone through. But no, they decided to make an example of him because this is what Australia does, because we are the anti-waxer capital of the world, mate. we're not going to have any of you anti-waxers here. And it's obvious that we're trying to make an issue of this. A lot of the Australian public don't like the idea of him getting special consideration and coming in here because they've been, it seems like they've gotten on with this mass psychosis formation and are acting like a bunch of crazies. Now, I for one would want nothing better than this guy to come in here and play. I mean, hell, I think he's an amazing player, and I think he's doing a very bold thing, standing up for what he believes in, you know. And some of the other tennis players, I'm sure, that aren't getting the same kind of coverage are doing the same thing. You have a look at what his father had to say.
Novak and his team filed the same type of documents as those 25 other tennis players, and they didn't have any problems, just Novak. They wanted to humiliate him. They could have said, "Don't come, Novak," and that would have been okay. But no, they wanted to humiliate him, and they're still keeping him in prison. He's not in detention, he's in prison. They took all of his stuff, even his wallet. They left him with just a phone and no change of clothes, nowhere to wash his face. He's in prison. Our pride is a prisoner of these idiots. Shame on them. The whole free world, together with Serbia, should rise. This isn't a battle for Serbia and Novak. It's a battle for 7 or something billion people, for freedom of expression, free speech, freedom of behaviour. Novak didn't break any laws, just as 7 billion people didn't break any laws. They want to subdue us and throw us all on our knees. It won't fly. Freedom, Novak. We're all with you.
And it's very clear that this guy, Djokovic, is being targeted. He is a political prisoner. They took away a lot of his stuff, and they're not giving any special considerations to him. And it's crazy when you think about it. This is Australia, a country where you literally can't leave right now unless you get an experimental boom shakalaka, where we will not even allow celebrity tennis players into our country unless, of course, they've done the right thing, right? And you have a look at what's going on around the world right now, and it really is a dark time in history. I was watching an interview with Reiner Fuellmich. He's a well-known lawyer who's set up this trial. A lot of people are calling it Nuremberg 2.0. And you have a look at the kind of things he was saying. I'm going to put the link to the interview that was done by Maria. See, she's doing amazing work. And this guy sounds like a conspiracy theorist. And it's crazy because he's not. Recently, he has discovered what's going on in the world, and the kind of things he's saying sounds so incredibly dire, sounds so dark that it's kind of hard not to call him a conspiracy theorist. But we're not talking about Alex Jones or David Icke or the Chocolate Nubian saying these kind of things. This is the well-known lawyer, Reiner, talking about things that would scare the average Momo. And then you have a look at the kind of stuff Dr. Malone has been saying, who has been taken off of YouTube. And these are people, once again, that are very much part of the establishment, but have recently discovered what is going on. And it sounds so dark hearing this stuff come out of their mouths. It makes you think to yourself, what the hell is going on in the world right now? I mean, we're living in a country here, like in Western Australia, where you literally cannot leave your home, even if you want to work, if you are on boom shakalaka. In Italy, they have mandated this thing for 50 years and over. What next? 40 years and over? 30 years and over? Do you see how they slowly turn up the dial on this thing? Rather than just saying, oh look, you can't exist unless you get this thing. They'll slowly put in these ridiculous mandates. You can't leave your home. You gotta be boom shakalaka if you're 50 and over. So at least a vast amount of the public feel as if they're not affected by this thing. This is how it works. And then eventually you find yourself being in this category where you're affected of course, a lot of people haven't done anything at that point, and then it's too late. Then you find yourself being subject to the worst coercion. And a lot of people need to check themselves before they wreck themselves when it concerns what is going on right now. A lot of people forget that we are really in one of the darkest times in history, that what is going on is unequivocally, unassailably immoral. It violates the Nuremberg Code. It is a violation of pretty much most constitutions around the world. But nonetheless, it is being implemented. We've seen governments go rogue, justifying this stuff under public health and safety. And a lot of people seem to have become apathetic. And I try to remind myself daily that this thing is not okay. This is not normal by any stretch of the imagination, because a lot of the momos, they want to pretend that it's normal. They've bought into this mass psychosis where they think that this stuff is justified. Well, look, I often like to say that despite the power of the sun, there is always night on half of the planet. That despite the good in the world, we're always seeing adversities. There's always evil. But the kind of evil that we are seeing enshroud the planet right now is unprecedented. We've never seen anything quite like this. And it's important for people not to become comfortable, to remind themselves each and every day that this stuff is not okay, and it's incumbent upon us to fight against it, this tyranny. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, let me know what you think of my new toy, the V11 electric unicycle. I'm fucking loving this thing, I'm telling you. You're gonna be seeing me making all my videos on this thing now, around Melbourne. Perhaps harassing the popo on this thing and zooming off at 50 kilometers an hour. They're not gonna be able to catch me now, hey? Chocolate Nubian, yo! But remember, there are three things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of yours truly. Until next time, this is your chocolate noobs. Surya Namaskara. Namaste. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.